What's up, everybody? My name is Nei, and this is my presentation on my sustainable garden at home. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's get it. The overall objective for my garden at home is to create it and sustain it. It's located in Kailua, Kona, Upper Palisades, so in the colder side of Kona. The plants that I grew were hot pepper, sweet pepper, lettuce, tomatoes, squash, sweet fragrant pea, and pohina hina branches. Week 1. This was the week of brainstorming. The first thing is we had our original plan that we would plant only pohina hina branches. As you can see on the right hand picture is the pohina hina branches. In the middle is the pohina hina plots that we were gonna plant the pohina hina in. A little fun fact about the pohina hina plant is we use the clothing method to plant. The third thing is we were gonna use pallets as the actual plots. So when the plants were ready to be transferred, we would have it in the pallets in our garden. The left hand side is the picture of a 6x12 greenhouse kit with expanding pea pellets that we had used in the beginning as like a startup. This can be found at Walmart and I think is very efficient. The third thing is we plan on every day we would water the plants and put it somewhere where we have easy access to. Week 2 and 3. For week 2, we built the first plot out of pallet. That is what my dad and my brother and my cousin are doing on the left hand side. And this was the final product of it, the picture in the middle. For week 3, we checked on plants every morning and evening and water to make sure it's receiving enough sun, about 6 or more hours of sun. Second thing is we built the second plot. The tools that we used were toolbox saw, hammer, plastic, shovel, staple, and so forth. The plant results. For week 2, there was no growth seen from the plants. By week 3, there was squash and tomatoes growing. As you can see on the right hand side, the squash is really blooming. Oh, week 4 and 5. Week 4, we transferred the second plywood plot to our garden, which is shown on the left picture. The second thing we did is we transferred the plants from the greenhouse kit to the pallet, which is what we were doing again in the left-hand side picture. We also built a temporary shelter for plants, which is the right picture. We had to build a shelter to keep the heavy rain from going into our plants. Week 5, we gathered tools to build an effective shelter for the plants, like a permanent shelter. The plant results was by week 4, the squash and tomatoes were rapidly growing. There's no signs of growth from the other plants. Pohina hina is growing back. By week 5, the lettuce is starting to grow along with a sweet fragrant pea plant. Also, the peppers are growing but very slowly compared to the squash and tomatoes. Oh, week 6 and 7. Week 6, we built a shelter for the plants. We attached a garden net as the roof to keep a lot of the rain from going into the plots. Week 7, we checked the plants that are good to be harvested. The plant results. For week 6, the lettuce is showing good results of growth. All plants except the squash and tomatoes are slowly growing, and you can see leaves growing out of the pohina hina branches. For week 7, plants are all growing so good, and the lettuce is ready to be harvested by next week. As you can see on the top right corner is the lettuce that will be harvested in week 8. On the bottom is the sweet pepper, hot pepper, and the tomatoes that will be separated in week 8 as well. In the middle is the shelter, the building of the shelter, and on the left hand side is the squash and the pea plants. Week 8. Week 8, we broke down the shelter for the plants. We created different location for the tomatoes and peppers, and we harvested the lettuce. As you can see on the left-hand side, we used the net as a safety thing before the chickens go inside, and we separated the peppers from the tomatoes. In the middle is the lettuce that was ready to be eaten. We shared with our families. On the right hand side is the pohina hinas that are ready to go. Hui! The problems and solutions. One problem was the heavy rain. So the solution is we built a shelter with a garden net to keep excessive rain from going into the plots. The second problem was moving locations for the garden because we had to move out by the end of this month. We had to find a different place. And the solution was we would come down, visit our uncle's house, and check on our plants when we can. The significance of the home garden is it was the first garden I had built from scratch with my dad. We've never planted any edible plants, so we wanted to see if our garden would be successful. It was significant to me because gardening is something my dad loves doing, so I wanted to learn more about making my own garden, and I'm very surprised that it turned out really good and successful. Thanks to Dad. That was the end. Hope you guys enjoy. Shoot!